Here is an interesting Zero Hedge article. Let me tell you what. Remember when I did a video a while back because I saw this interesting article, and it was about the Department of Defense or DARPA or there's something, and they were going to get this social media platform going, and they had all this funding and investment stuff they were going to do, and then all of a sudden Facebook comes out, and then they drop the whole project. And in that article, it goes to show you why they thought they never dropped it. Facebook was their answer, actually, to spy on everybody. So now I'm seeing this posted Saturday, actually, and it just ties it together even more. The title of this one from Zero Hedge is Classified, the Most Powerful Investor You Never Heard of. Pre-IPO swap, New York, 1/12/2019. Did you know that the CIA has its own venture fund? And did you know that venture fund was key in starting Facebook and Google? As explained in the book Splitting Pennies, the World is Not as it Seems. For many readers, especially on Zero Hedge, this comes as no surprise, as you are well aware of the octopus that wraps its tentacles around the globe. But it may surprise you how active In-Q-Tel is and how chummy they are with the rest of the VC community, venture capitalists. It's as if they are just another VC, but with another purpose. Let's look at some of the stats from Crunchbase. In-Q-Tel identifies and partners with companies developing cutting-edge technologies to help deliver these solutions to the central, and it just cuts off Arlington, Virginia, United States, which I would assume is Central Intelligence Agency. I don't know why it's cut off. In-Q-Tel has made 175 investments. Their most recent investments was on December 12th, 2018, when they invested in Immersive Wisdom. So here's a list of them, and these are fairly recently. Immersive Wisdom, Primer, OmniSci, Evolve Technology, Interset, Envil, Primer again, so twice now, Primer. There was a corporate round, then there was a Series B for Primer. Evident.io, Frame, Arrivo Labs, and Kalos Genetics. Those last few are going back to 2017. If you dig back, you won't see Google or Facebook on there, which is a company policy for retail consumer investments that can impact the public. It's kept secret behind an NDA. Here's how it works. In-Q-Tel may invest in your startup, but there's a big catch. First, you have to sign an NDA, which is enforced strongly that you are not to disclose your partner, which of course would be them. Second, you must agree to cooperation when it comes time to information sharing, now or down the road, such as location data on people using Facebook, Google, or other systems, perhaps only to feed it into a big data brain at Palantir. Or perhaps for more street-level surveillance. The surveillance is known by fact, not conspiracy theory, but by fact, due to the disclosure of classified documents by Edward Snowden. If it were not for Snowden, we could only guess about this. The name of the main program is called PRISM, but there are many others. For those in the VC community that are deep in the know, the deep VCs like Peter Thiel, for example, the Snowden revelations would come as no surprise. And he links to this article, must read No Place to Hide, the story of the NSA, PRISM, and Snowden, written by Greenwald. But for others, it may come as a surprise that not only the CIA has its own VC fund, but that it sits on many corporate boards alongside many Wall Street firms and other VCs. And of course, they always do well. Let's consider the doors they opened for Google, or in the case of Google, it was more like the doors that were closed. Google was not the best search engine. It was not superior technology. It wasn't even really very good. It just became a monopoly and crushed the competition. Many wondered how they were able to do it, and this is part of the entrepreneur magic that few have. Well, we can say in the case of Google, there was no magic. They had a helping hand from a friend in the deep shadows. Google wanted to become huge. The CIA wants information. They always do, so we don't use the past tense word wanted. They always want it. So it was a cozy and rational partnership in exchange for making the right handshakes at the right time, allowing Google to become a global behemoth. All they needed to do was share a little information about users. Actually, a lot of information. No harm in that, right? But in doing so, Google violated itself as well as prostituted its model and its users. Google still does this and is not nearly as flagrant as its brother Facebook. However, Google shares more detailed metadata, which is actually more useful to echelon systems like Palantir that rely on big data, not necessarily photos of what you ate for breakfast, but that can be helpful too, they say. The metaphor is making a deal with the devil. You get what you want, but it comes at a price. And that's the price users pay to Google. They get services for free, but at a huge cost. Their privacy. Oh, you're using Gmail? Anyone using Gmail? No, anything you write or receive, send or receive, they're looking at it and it's probably automatically, I'm telling you this now, it is more likely than not, automatically being fed right over to the CIA and the NSA. The metaphor is making a deal with the devil. You get what you want, but it comes at a price, and that's the price users pay to Google. They get service for free, but at a huge cost, their privacy. Of course, this is all based on the concept of freedom, which really does exist in the USA. You don't have to use Google. There are many alternatives, like the rising star DuckDuckGo. But who cares about privacy? Only criminals, hackers, programmers, super wealthy, and a few philosophers. Google remains the dominant search platform and much more. Google exploits niche by niche, even competing with Amazon's Alexa service. The argument here is that Google wouldn't be Google without the help of the CIA. This isn't our idea, it's a fact. You can read about it here on QZ.com, which they link to. And you know me, I'll always put a link up about this stuff. So you can go directly to the source, and then their sources, and all that. And they have a little quote from that link. 2 decades ago, the U.S. intelligence community worked closely with Silicon Valley in an effort to track citizens in cyberspace, and Google is at the heart of that origin story. Some of that research that led to Google's ambitious creation was funded and coordinated by a research group established by the intelligence community to find ways to track individuals and groups online. The intelligence community hoped that the nation's leading computer scientists could take non-classified information and user data, combine it with what would become known as the Internet, and begin to create for-profit commercial enterprises to suit the needs of both the intelligence community and the public. They hoped to direct the supercomputing revolution from the start in order to make sense of what millions of human beings did inside this digital information network. That collaboration has made a comprehensive public-private mass surveillance state possible today. So there you have it. Google is the child of the digital revolution of the surveillance state. Why spy when you can collect data electronically and analyze with machine learning? Well, here's another thing. You got an Android phone? Not that Apple matters either way, but Apple's deep state also. But Android is Google. Google is Android. Okay, Android operating system. So you have an Android phone. Even if you don't turn on GPS, anytime you have a cell tower connection, it's going to triangulate your rough estimated position. And while it's not, within 10 feet or less like a GPS would be, it's close enough. It's pretty damn close. It might be 100 or 150, 200 feet off. Worst case scenario. Everywhere you go, everything you do, everywhere you visit, it's being logged. Google's logging everything. They're logging your whole entire life. You turn on GPS, it's just that much more finer. But even if you don't turn on GPS, is your phone working? You have a cell signal? Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're capturing everything. The new spy is... What? What's this? Oh, this isn't... The new spy is the web bot. What the... Although they're not talking about Cliff High's web bot. And the investors in Google did well, so that's the investing story that matters here. It pays well to have friends in high places and in dark places. Of all the investments In-Q-Tel made, almost all of them have done very well. That doesn't mean that Palantir is going to grow to the size of Google, but it does provide natural support should a company backed by In-Q-Tel run into problems. By the time Facebook came out, digital surveillance was already in the nth generation of evolution, and they really stepped up their game. In the creepiest examples, Facebook doesn't necessarily and primarily collect data on Facebook users. It does this too. But that's just a given. You don't need to perform surveillance on someone who gives all their data to the system willingly. You always know where they are and what they are doing at any given moment. The trick is to get information about those who may try to hide their activities, whether they are real terrorists or just paranoid geniuses. Right, so let me turn my GPS off. I don't want them tracking me all the time. Oh, that's okay. They're not tracking you down to the 10 feet or less. They're not tracking you to about 100, 150 feet. You feel any better? You turn your GPS off now? You know what I mean? So how does Facebook do this? There are literally hundreds of programs running, but in one creepy example, Facebook collects photos that users take to analyze the environment surrounding. Incidentally, the location data is much more accurate than you see on the retail front end. So you get the newspaper and see a gift in your mailbox for your birthday. You take a photo because the ribbons are hanging out. What shows up in the background? All kinds of information. What the neighbor is doing, license plate of a car driving by, trash waiting to be picked up by the street, a child's toy left by the sidewalk. You get the picture. Facebook users have been turned into sneaky little digital spies while they are walking around with their smartphones, should be called dumb phones, scrolling their walls and snapping photos away. They are taking photos of you too. That means Facebook collects data for the CIA about users who don't have Facebook accounts, right? Like I said, in my house or anywhere you go, someone who's using Facebook, who you may say, I don't consent to any of that, but you're out in the public and they're Facebooking around and updating their Facebook and you're in the picture. Bing, gotcha, got your facial recognition. They know exactly who you are and where you were. Bang. You don't even have to be a part of it. Just as long as most people are, chances are you'll get snapped into some photo or somewhere, right? That's what he's saying. This is the huge secret that the mainstream media doesn't want to tell you. Deleting your Facebook account will do nothing. Every time you go out in public, you're being photographed, video recorded, and more, all going into big data, artificial intelligence for analysis. But here's the best part. You own it. The CIA may have a bad reputation, but it is part of the U.S. government, and thus, profits go back to the Treasury. Those which are declared anyways. Or at least they're supposed to. Considering this, why is there a stigma about even talking about In-Q-Tel when in fact we should be more involved in any U.S. government operation when it's technically owned by the people and funded by the taxpayers, right? Meaning, do taxpayers have rights to know what goes in taxpayer-funded entities like In-Q-Tel? The big difference between In-Q-Tel and the CIA is that In-Q-Tel functions just like any other VC. They disclose most of their investments, they attend conferences, they accept business plans. You could literally submit your idea to In-Q-Tel and get funding. Of course, like any VC, there's a very small chance of being funded. So what's an investor's take on this story? In-Q-Tel is not Freddie Mac, nor a quasi-government entity, it's not an NGO, and there is no implicit guarantee that In-Q-Tel's deals will do any better than, Andreessen Horowitz. Or is that Andreessen Horowitz? However, their deals do very well. Companies they fund not only have the backing of the CIA explicitly, it's not only about business, it's about national security. Under that guise, it's no wonder that companies like Google and Facebook rocket to the top. We are not suggesting that investors double down on In-Q-Tel bets. We are only suggesting that at a minimum, we follow what they do. It's a data point, a good source of information, and the best part is that it's public. Their most recent investment is a virtual reality company in Boca Raton, Florida, called Immersive Wisdom. Immersive Wisdom is an enterprise software platform that allows users to collaborate in real time upon diverse data sets and applications within a temporal and geospatial aware, virtual, mixed, and augmented reality space. Immersive Wisdom is hardware agnostic and runs on VR, AR, as well as 2D displays. Regardless of geographic location, multiple users can be together in a shared virtual workspace, standing on maps, with instant access to relevant information from any available source. Users can simultaneously and in real time visualize, fuse, and act upon senior inputs, cyber/network data, IoT feeds or Internet of Things feeds, enterprise applications, telemetry, tagged assets, 3D models, LiDAR imagery, and UAV footage or streaming video, providing an omniscient collaborative view of complex environments. Immersive wisdom also acts as a natural human interface to multi-dimensional data sets generated by AI and machine learning systems. The platform includes a powerful SDK or software development kit that enables the creation of customer-specific workflows as well as rapid integration with existing data sources and applications. Cool stuff for sure, but it's in the early stages. Pre-IPO swap suggests real pre-IPO unicorns, not because of size, but because of the right mix of risk and reward. In any analysis, it's worth watching In-Q-Tel, which is a top source of funding and investment data we watch on their website here, which is pre-IPO swap, which I'll link to this. That's the world. That's how it is right now, and I'm just hoping and hoping that old Donald Trump handles business, and it sounds like he's fixing to. I got a little Q update coming up next. Take care.